This episode is brought to you by Bleacher Report. How do you follow sports? From college football to the NBA, Bleacher Report brings you the latest news, live scores, and epic highlights from your favorite leagues, teams, and athletes, all in one app. Dive into exclusive shows hosted by your favorite athletes and original Bleacher Report series with breaking news, rumors, and predictions all season long. Download Bleacher Report to personalize your coverage.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file, Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to your post-match Raw podcasting deep from my field here in beautiful rural Ireland. I'm Trev Downey, back after my internet absence. I apologise for that, but it's great to be back and joining for their immediate reactions to Tottenham Hotspur 3, Liverpool 6, if you don't mind, in the Premier League from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium are Dave Hendrick and Jim Boardman. Dave, that was a fucking mental game, and I'd love to say it was very enjoyable. Most of it was, the vast majority of it was, a lot of imperious football, beautiful flowing play, several lads who could be in with a shout for man of the match. Probably the lad who got it would be third in line in my estimation. Mo Salah, 2 goals, 2 assists, moving up that table of Liverpool all-time scorers. Luis Diaz, incredibly powerful running all the way through the match. Dom Szoboszlai, an absolute wonder of performance. Aerially fantastic, powerful running, great passing. Gets himself on the score sheet. Tremendous stuff. A great afternoon in so many ways. It's a little bit annoying that we managed to concede 3, but it seems almost churlish to say too much about that.
It is a little bit annoying that we conceded 3. Like, we've just won a game 6-3 away from home against the Big Six rival who have a tremendous attack. They're obviously not great defensively, but they do have a tremendous attack. And yet, I come away a little bit annoyed that we've conceded 3 goals. And I think 2 of them were due to mistakes that we made. I think you could maybe look at all 3, but ultimately what we should focus on is the long stretches of that game in which we made them look like they were a lower league team. And I don't mean championship. I'm talking League 1, League 2. We put forward a performance of enormous separation from a team that I know they're in a rough spot at the moment, but they will be in the mix for top 4 come the end of the season, in my opinion. Like, when you look at how fragmented the table is, they're sitting on 23 points. Forest are on 31. Does anyone think Forest are going to keep that pace going and get 4th? I don't think anybody does. Bournemouth are next on 28. Again, do we think they're getting 4th? Not really. You've got Villa on 28, City on 27, Newcastle on 26, and Spurs on 23. So they're only 5 points behind Villa, 4 behind City, 3 behind Newcastle. That's the group I expected them to be in. Well, I didn't expect City to be in that group personally. I thought they'd be, challenging at the top. But So for us to go there and do that to them is a spectacular performance. And like, even scoring 6, we've left goals on the table there today. It's not like we've gone there and absolutely maxed out our ability to score goals. Jamie Redknapp said it after the game. Liverpool could easily have scored 10. He said 10. I think 10 might be pushing it a little bit, but we could have gotten 8 or 9. We were just phenomenal. And you highlighted a couple of lads there. Mo, 2 goals, 2 assists. It becomes ridiculous. He's the top scorer in the league now, and he's played a game less than everybody else, because obviously we have a game in hand. He is the first player in Premier League history to have at least 10 goals and 10 assists before Christmas in a Premier League season. He is currently on track to score over 30 Premier League goals with over 20 Premier League assists, which would, without question, be the single greatest Premier League season in history. Luis Diaz was unbelievable. Like, in the early going, there was a couple of moments where, you know, you see him do things and you think, like, he's not a centre forward. That's not what a centre forward would do there. But you look at the work rate, you look at the pressing, the closing down, the harrying, the fact that, and Neville highlighted this on the commentary, we're pressing as a unit. Mo doesn't press as much as the rest. Mo narrows angles more and kind of cuts off passing lanes really well. But he didn't need to press as much because Lucha was pressing like an animal. And then roaring in behind him was Dominic Szoboszlai, who, whatever they fed that lad this morning, find out what they fed him and give it to him every single day for every single meal. He was unbelievable. I thought Joe Gomez was imperious. And I know we conceded 3 goals, so it's a weird thing to say, but Joe was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I thought Trent had a really good game. I thought, having had an absolute horror show last weekend, Robbo had a solid game. And for the most part, dealt well with Kulusevski. It was only when Kulusevski moved centrally that he really started to find joy in the game. There was a lot of really, really top-level performances from the Reds today. And the first 40 minutes was incredible. Absolutely. That was the level that we were at when we were at our very best under Klopp. That was that level of performance. And we were 2-0 up. They scored. And they didn't even celebrate. They were like, we've still got this massive mountain to climb. And then we go and score straight away. As if to say, not a chance. Not a chance of you getting back into this.
Yeah, I was really taken by the lack of enthusiasm after Maddison's goal. It was exactly like you were saying. And that's because that first half performance, if you were to characterize it as a kind of like in a metaphorical way, it was like basically if you have 2 lads fighting, we were ragdolling these guys. It was like embarrassing at points. And so I think you're right. I think they didn't have any heart that they were actually going to do it. But I will say one thing, and the Sky lads were at pains to point this out across all the various people in the commentary about Ange Postecoglou. And I just want to get this in with you at the start because I know you're a fan. They did say that that's one kind of trait of his teams, that they just keep going doggedly. And like, I really admire that because that's the first thing that I loved about Klopp era Liverpool is we played till the final whistle, regardless of what the scoreline was, you know, and it's a good trait.
It is a good trait. And you know what else I found admirable today? So they're 5-1 down at home with whatever it was, 20 minutes left on the clock. People weren't streaming out the door. The people were staying in their seats. And a part of that is because there is always a chance that they, with the way they play and with the attacking talent that they have, that they do get a couple of quick goals and maybe make it a fight of it. And obviously they did get a couple of quick goals here. But it is a thing with Ange where his teams, they are relentless in what they do. The issue is when they don't have the ball, especially when, like, look, you take the 2 best centre-backs and goalkeeper and left-back out of any team in the world, and they're going to struggle. You take Ibu, Virgil, let's say Gomez, who's our best left-back, and Ali out of our team, we would struggle. We would be still great going forward, but we would struggle defensively. But Ange is so committed to this way of playing, which it bothers me because he wasn't this naive at Celtic. And at Celtic, he had license to be this naive because his teams were so much better than everybody else. But he needs to realize, like, Spurs are a big team. They've got tremendous players. I think their squad is really strong for the future. They're a couple of players short. But he needs to realize that in this division, there are levels to this. And as good as the squad he has is, they're not on our level. They're not on Arsenal's level. Arsenal have drilled how they play for years now. So they have to alter how they play against the top clubs. And like, there's a certain way to look at it and say, oh, well, look, at home, it's admirable to always play the same way. And you treat every opponent as if they're the same and you back yourself. Like, that is admirable, but there's also a naivety to it. Carragher highlighted this. I think it was Carragher anyway at half-time. You're 2-0 down. You get a goal out of the blue. You have got to see it out to half-time. You have got to give yourself a chance to get into that dressing room, reset, get the 15 minutes of rest, and get back out for the second half, where maybe you can seize the initiative. Maybe the Liverpool players, the break comes and they start slowly in the second half. You seize that initiative and you go on and you get your equaliser. And then the momentum of the game shifts entirely towards you. And yet they're just a mess. Spence is pressing far too high up. Dragusin comes from right side centre-back all the way across into the left centre-back channel to win a ball he can't get near. Sabo heads it on, we go and score. Like, those small individual mistakes that Spence makes and that Dragusin makes, if the manager just tells them no risks till half-time in the immediate aftermath of the goal, they could be a totally different team. And it's the same thing when we see them a couple of weeks ago at home to Chelsea. They go 2-0 up. 2-0 up. See it out. Let's get 15 to 20 minutes of boredom here. And then maybe you go again. Manage your workload. Manage your energy levels. Instead, against Chelsea, they just cough up goal. End up losing the game 4-3 at home, having been 2-0 up. United in the week, they're 3-0 up and they just start to throw in goals. These are small things that he could easily drum out of them. But he doesn't seem to want to. And that's, I love the guy. He's the best Celtic manager of my lifetime. The team he had up there, they were so much fun to watch. I have real concerns about him at Spurs because there's only so long that they'll be willing to, be the great entertainers if you're sitting in 10th. Different if you're getting 4th or you finish 5th and it's like last season and you can make your excuses, injury here, bad refereeing decision there. But if you're in 10th, that then falls on the manager. And, as I said earlier, they're not that far off, but Daniel Levy doesn't tend to hang around. So Ange needs to make some changes.
Daniel Levy is not going to be consoled by "it's who we are, mate," if the results are not where they need to be. And Jim, Dave's mentioned initiative, momentum. He also mentioned Chelsea there in passing, and Chelsea's failure to win left us in a very nice position. Where now, if you look at the Premier League table, we are 4 points clear. We have an advantage of +3 on the goal difference at 21 versus Chelsea's 18. We also are a nice 6 points clear of Arsenal, and we have a game in hand over both of those teams. It's a very, very healthy position to be in. You look at the Champions League table, Liverpool sit top of that, 3 points clear of Barcelona, who've put a really good run together in this competition, 5 points clear of the third place team, Arsenal. And it just starts to have this feeling of, which was the greatest part of the Klopp era for me, was being able to go on one of the only shows that I ever did any predictions on. The only show I ever did predictions on was the show with Jan. I like Dave does one every week, right, with Carl. But the only show I ever had where we had predictions was at the end, I would just say, Jan, what do you reckon? And we got to this stage over the years where it was like, well, look, if we show up, we're just going to be better than them, and it's going to be, and it was always almost inevitably predicting a Reds win, a rare occasion a draw. There was that gorgeous inevitability about, if we do our stuff, we're just going to be better than the team we're playing. And I have that feeling again now, so early into this lad's reign. Yes, it's the same group of players. We know what to expect from them. They're a very excellent crew. But there's something lovely about the way we're approaching this, kind of holistically, from the top down, from the manager's press conferences, way of dealing with the public, way of communicating what he wants to do, to the way that things are getting carried out in the park. There's a rigor to it. There's okay, today we scored 3 goals, but let's be honest, that's atypical. So we also have this added sort of solidity now. That's a very Klopp era result today. That we would cough up 3 or maybe 4, but we win 6-4, so fuck you kind of thing. But this is atypical under Arne, and I love that it's atypical. I don't like conceding goals. I'll take as many as we can put in the opposition net for sure. But it just has this feeling, doesn't it, Jim, of something quite cohesive that's not necessarily, and I am literally grasping all the wood I can, going to fall away.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need, have coverage options to protect the things you value most, file a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Add excitement to your holidays with Ohio Lottery Holiday Scratch-Offs, including $1 holiday cash and $5 holiday lucky times 10, or holiday bonus millions with a 200 times multiplier and a $2 million top prize. Plus, enjoy second chance drawings where you can win 10 times, 100 times, or 1,000 times the price of your ticket. Scratch-Offs make the perfect gift, and best of all, there's no wrapping required. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
This episode is brought to you by AWS. Amazon Q Business is the new generative AI assistant from AWS. Many tasks can make business slow, like wading through mud. Help! Luckily, there's a faster, easier, less messy choice. Amazon Q can securely understand your business data to help you streamline tasks, like summarizing quarterly results or doing complex analyses in no time. Q got this. Learn what Amazon Q Business can do for you at aws.com/learn more.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
It feels... What we forget as well is we're sort of a few months into this new era of Slot where he's still trying to get his ideas across. He's still got, no doubt, loads of ideas still in his arsenal that he's ready to start sort of using on these players as time goes on. You know, you can't teach them a load in one go. He's sort of giving them what they need to know. They're all learning his new ways and they're doing it so well. And I do love the way we still retained what was good from when we were under Klopp. You know, that the way we fight, the way we press, the way we, the way we never give up in a game as well. I mean, that is definitely something Klopp brought to us. And I think, if anything today, it's hard not to sort of draw attention to those 3 goals because you are, as a fan, you do sort of try and look at the little faults because you want to sort of plug any holes. But I don't feel like that was any sort of that wasn't 3 goals that other coaches are going to be getting. Right, come on, let's get around the video of this game now. Let's see what this weakness was. I think the weakness was there was a moment in the first half where they got a great goal, which it was just like a minute of maybe lapseness from us at the most. And then in the second half, their 2 goals where we were just sort of, we were like, the job's done, 5-1. And this is a team who are actually, if I'm not mistaken, the top scorers in the league. They might not be the top defenders in the league, but they're definitely the top scorers. I think they've got 2 more than us this season. So they're the kind of team that can score goals and will score goals. But as Dave just made so clear, then it's not so good at the back. A bit like, I don't know, maybe a bit like when we were under Rodgers is how they're going, which is another analogy with Celtic, I suppose.
Remember Newcastle under Keegan? That's who they really remind me of. Like, including that naivety that Newcastle team had of, yeah, you might score 3, we'll get 4. You want to get 4, we'll get 5. And never a thought of, well, we're 2-0 up here, lads. We could just, we could see this one out and get on to the next one.
And there was no sign of them going. I mean, if I'm going to mention Rodgers again, there's absolutely no way that Brendan Rodgers at 5-1 down would have his team trying to get a couple back to try and, rescue a bit of face from a bad game, try and reduce that gap. It'd have been like damage limitation, everyone behind the ball, just try and keep it at 5-1. That would have been the kind of Rodgers way. This guy's doesn't think that way. And I'd hate if we were like that again. But we were sort of picking our moments to attack. And I think, yeah, they caught us a couple of times because we had kind of, taken ourselves off the ball. And they're a good team. We were just sort of sitting back. But there was a moment in the second half where I don't even know what the score was because it felt like we were just thrashing them the whole game. So I couldn't tell you what bit it was. And we're on the attack again. And you can tell that they're obviously like trying to get the first chance they can for a counter-attack. And it felt like we had them run ragged in the box as if we had everyone forward. And then the ball comes forward and the camera image pans to the right. And our back 4 are still sat there sort of well inside our half, just waiting until they needed. And we were sort of running them ragged as if all their plays were back. We just start, the front maybe 6 plays or 5 or 6 plays. We're making them look like 11. Because when we need to get forward, we can. But it's this common sense approach to it, which maybe is what Spurs haven't got, as you say. I mean, there was a point today where, you're understanding the chasing the game and the pressing like mad. And what they're doing is we're inviting them on to press us. We're inviting them to come and press us. We're inviting them to come forward. And as soon as they commit themselves too far, there's going to be a pass out wide. I think it was out to Trent, and Trent just, finding someone further forward. And they're sort of under pressure again. And it's sort of almost naivety, but I think one of the players involved in that was Son, who you think would know. And I think that's the only time I actually remember him today. For all they were good going forward, I don't remember a lot about him today. It's definitely a side that's going to get better if the Spurs hierarchy will let it get better and will let it grow into something. That could be a really good side. That could be one to worry about. There's obviously things for them to work on, but as far as we're concerned, I just think, back to what you were saying originally, Trev, you go into these games and you feel such confidence, and it isn't the same confidence as, well, if we go out, as you said, if we go out and we play our best, we can beat anyone in front of us on our day. It doesn't even feel like that. It feels like a step up. And the other thing I think to take away from today is, and this was obviously Klopp was the manager then, I wonder how different the game would have been last season when referees got involved. This is maybe more like how that game would have been. I mean, this was, you think back to that game and Liverpool almost came back with 9 men. Very unlucky at the end. But that was a Liverpool side, wasn't it, that had gone behind unfairly, but they were fighting and clawing and trying to get something out of the game. This Liverpool side doesn't feel like that. This Liverpool side just gets it sorted early on and tries to stay in the games.
We were refereed today by 31-year-old fetus Sam Barrett. And I'm going to give the lad a bit of credit. I don't have a whole lot to say about him, which is kind of how I prefer my referees' performances to be, unremarkable. Now, there is one particular thing I want to talk about. It's got nothing to do with Sam Barrett necessarily. It's a decision he didn't give at the end, but we'll save that for a kind of interesting talking point at the end. I want to get your opinions on both of those things. And we're also now going to blitz through one of our usual features with the teams, because we have talked a little bit about Tottenham and about Liverpool's approach today, and get straight to the match. But just for the record, Tottenham today lined up with Forster, Dave's already highlighted, look, they're missing a few very good footballers. We have to acknowledge that. They have Porro, Dragusin, Gray and Spence. They've got Sarr, Basuma and Madison, Kulusevski, Solanke and Son. And on their bench, you can see where the injuries are starting to hit, because the bench isn't as strong as it should be. Austin's on there, Reguilon, Udogi, Dorrington, Bergval, Olisesi, Werner, Johnson and Langshire. And see, there's a couple of good players to call on there. We went strong. Alisson, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk and Robbo. We had Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister, Salah, Diaz and Gakpo. I think not many people will argue that that's probably, of the available fellas, the best team we could have put out. Our bench looking quite strong. Queeving on there alongside Nunes, Endo, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Diogo Jota, Costas Tsimikas. We've got Kwanzaa and Nioni making up a very strong reserve there as well. So let's get into it, Dave. Let's get into this match, because there's a lot happening, and we'll walk ourselves all the way up to the first goal in 22 minutes. And it's pretty much, those opening 22 minutes are pretty much characterised by spectacular Liverpool dominance. There's an early chance where Forster's pricking about a little bit. He allows Mo in, and Mo's shot is fired wide of the near post. There's a decent move on 4 where Luis Diaz drives a shot at goal. On 10, there's a Trent ball into Mo Salah, which is fantastic and typical of his passing today. And Mo's volley is really well sort of hit. It kind of had a feel a little bit of the goal Kulusevski scores later on, but Mo's execution is not as good as his. And then there's a Dom blocked shot in the follow-up. 15 minutes, Mark. There's another booming diagonal ball from Trent across to the far wing to Luis Diaz. He does well, cuts in, pulls the ball back to Cody Gakpo, and Cody skies his effort pretty badly. But you can see where we're going with this. We're just building and building. There is an effort from them where Sarr has a shot after some good work by Kulusevski. We're going to say that a lot. Good work by Kulusevski. He's a little bit of a level above most of their footballers, in my opinion. Very impressed with him today. It's a combination of effort and talent that you like to see. You don't like to see against you. There's a double Mo effort on 16 minutes. There's another drive at goal by the same man on 18, and he hammers a right-footed shot after some incredible play, just driving into the 6-yard box, hammers a right-footed shot off the bar. I mean, it's building. It's becoming inevitable. On 19, there's a lovely sweeping move. And the move happens after these criers were looking for a free kick versus Dom Szoboszlai for standing up. But anyway, there's an offside in that effort by us. And only 2 minutes or 3 minutes later, we are ahead. It is Luis Diaz. The inevitable has happened. It's a brilliant header from a perfectly shaped Trent cross from the right-hand side. Lovely, lovely flight on the ball. And just an emphatic diving header by Luis Diaz to just sort of put to bed that period of dominance. I felt massive relief when that went in, Dave.
Yeah. Relief is the exact word to use, because, you know, in the last couple of years, it's felt like we had like big spells in games where we battered teams and didn't get that goal. And then we get sucker punched and go behind, and then you've got to start all over again. And I think I heard Peter Drury say before the Diaz goal that Salah had already had 5 shots in the game, which is ridiculous for the first 20 odd minutes. But it's not like he was the only one taking shots. Like it speaks to how dominant we were. Everybody in red was firing on all cylinders, playing with great energy, playing with aggression, playing with purpose, most importantly. And it was literally the hot knife through butter over and over and over again. And we weren't creating like clear-cut chances. They weren't huge chances, but there were decent chances for players of the quality that we have. But the goal is outrageous. Like, it's worked obviously across to Trent. He has a bit of space. Son doesn't get out quick enough to close it down. And it's just the most nonchalant thing. Controls it, rolls it out of his feet, and just whips that ball. And it's a brilliant header by Luis Diaz. And I was trying to think after he scored it, I don't remember the last time we had back-to-back Premier League games where one of our players scored diving headers. The diving header is sort of a dying way of scoring goals because players are not as brave as they used to be. So you don't see as many players throw themselves to the ball the way Gakpo did against Fulham and the way Lucho did today for fear of getting a clatter. But it's a brilliant header. It's an absolutely brilliant header, but it's the ball from Trent that makes it. And you could see that from Lucho's celebration with him, where he does the boot cleaning thing. But yeah, it's an absolute peach of a goal, and it's the minimum we deserved for that first 25 minutes of football.
It extrapolates out well over the course of the game as well. I think we create 9 big chances. Again, I'm a little bit leery of some of these stats, and I'm not in any way a Luddite about anything new technological. I'm quite the opposite. But sometimes I'm a little bit leery about who's deciding what a big chance is. But apparently we did create 9 over the course of the game from our 24 total shots, 12 of which were on target, leading to an expected goals of 4.46. This sort of level that we produced in the first 22 minutes, we did pretty much continue throughout the course of the game. And Dave, I want to go to the second goal with you as well, and then I'll do the next 2 with Jim, because that's that last chunk of the second half. A lot's going on there in those 10 minutes. So let's see you and I move on to the second goal. And in between our first and second, there is a sort of effort by Kulusevski again. There's a short corner. He kind of drives. He cuts in and drives at our goal, but he does shoot well wide. There's a Luis Diaz opportunity on 25 where his shot is saved. Some brilliant pressure from us then over a sort of concerted 2-3 minute period, sequence of dangerous crosses. They were flapping a bit. We really had the sort of boot on the neck at this point. It was a shortage of oxygen in most of their brains at that point. Joe Gomez, who you mentioned earlier on 34 minutes, because we have precious few big defensive moments that we can talk about. So I do want to highlight them when they happen. It's a 1v1 with Madison, and it summed up what the word you used to describe him, which I'd often use to describe Virgil. He was imperious, and he just emerged with the football, just cool as a breeze, strength, poise, exactly what you want from Joe and what we know he's capable. And we do go 2-0 up on 36. It's Joe Gomez playing a great ball out of the fence. We work the ball towards the left-hand side. Robbo's cross is pinged in. It's sort of a floater. It's not particularly powerful. It's challenged for by Dom Szoboszlai. He gets up well and sort of makes sure that neither Spence nor Gray gets any sort of proper contact on it. It comes off someone's shoulder and bobbles up into the air. And Mac, like some sort of a kind of classic goal poacher, is lurking and nods the ball home from a couple of yards out. And it was a wonderful feeling. And again, I think, and I heard you say it, I read you say it on Twitter. I know me and Jim were saying something similar before you joined us there. No more than we deserved.
Oh, absolutely. Like a salmon leaping from the boyne, Alexis McAllister appears in the box to head home. All 5'9" of them in among the trees. No bother to him at all. And it's a really well worked goal, like you said. Like it's brilliant from Gomez. Fires that pass out to the feet of Cody, leaves it in for Robbo. And like you said, Robbo's cross is not whipped. It is just lofted to the back stick. And Szoboszlai makes it really hard for them. Like Archie Gray is going backwards. He's never going to win that ball. He's like, we should point out, Archie Gray is a midfield player who has played a lot of right back in his career. He's played about 5 games of centre back. So he's out of his depth there straight away.
He's still good though, isn't he?
But he's a phenomenal talent. Like he is the best young English talent around.
There's a lot to like about that kid, I think.
But Jed Spence, to be fair, like Spence does pretty well to kind of block Szoboszlai off and get something to the ball. It's his shoulder it hits. But none of the Spurs players react. Nobody's followed Alexis. Fraser Forster's caught in his heels. Like, as that goes up in the air, you're 6'7", mate. Come and throw your fist at it and send it 20 feet away. Do anything. Just wreck that ball. But one of the smallest players on the pitch just jogs in, nobody near him, leaps up, great fun, heads it in, goal. And absolutely the least we deserved. We had been so good to that point. We were that good that even Gary Neville was audibly in awe of what he was seeing. When we were brilliant under Klopp, I always felt that Neville found ways to not let the mask slip. He put the mask down on the seat beside him today and became a football fan.
I think his mask was full of tears, though, wasn't it, as well? So, yeah, well, in fairness, then earlier.
It's difficult to be that persistently condescending in the face of proof to the opposite. So at some stage, if you want to look like a sentient fucking human, you have to admit, oh, that's good, isn't it? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but Neville said that's the best 40 minutes he's seen from any Premier League team this season.
Yeah.
Which speaks volumes, because all I heard last night, all I saw last night was Arsenal with a statement win at Crystal Palace missing 3 starters. Like, will you get away to fuck, lads? We've gone to Spurs. Again, I know they're missing starters. We're missing Ibu. We're missing the second best centre-back in the world. And number 9 is still not fit to start. But the left winger we started at number 9 was magnificent for us. But we're operating at a very high level today. Which, bear in mind, we hadn't done in our two previous games. So there was some nerves going in there today. But yet, that was just, we were just untouchable. Absolutely. And there was no team in Europe right now that could have lived with us in that first 40 minutes.
And I'm sorry, but that is the definition of a statement performance, when on the back of people going, again, Neville, if you were to characterize what was happening with us in recent games, you'd be doing the Neville noise, because it's getting a little bit worrying. Okay, are we drawing? Oh God, we're not winning every game. So you could see all the boys were getting wild excited, and then we create a statement performance today on the back of, I think, sit down, shut up, we're top of the league. And Jim, you would imagine at 36 minutes that's pretty much that. But no, the last part of this first half is quite dramatic. Now, I realise I've left a lot of that between myself and Dave on the table there. You might want to go back and have a lucky dip into something you wanted to pick out. Feel free to do that. But just let's you and I run through what happens in the remaining minutes, because you mentioned earlier on Son and you weren't quite aware of him, and you mentioned there was something that you remembered on 38 minutes. That was the thing you remembered. Son actually got in sort of on goal, but he's drifting left and his shot goes into the side rigging wide of the near post. I don't actually know if it even hits the side rigging. I think it's just well wide, actually, now that I think about it. There's a Sarr volley on 40 minutes from outside the box, well dealt with by Ali, but it is kind of at him. So again, these guys don't sit down, they're putting it back up to us, and shit, on 40 minutes, it's 2-1. Maddison is the scorer. McAllister gets the ball played into him by Trent in a way that we see every single game. And we're very, very comfortable playing the ball. And McAllister is one of those guys who can take the ball with men around him and not be flustered. But he doesn't quite get his touch right. He gets robbed by Kulusevski, of course. And Maddison pounces on the ball. And listen, he has a lot to do. There's a gap and he aims it into the gap. And it's hit so powerfully that even though it's not in the corner, Ali can't even react. It's just an absolute wonderful strike, to be fair to him. Again, I'll let you come back to that goal and the concession of it. You might disagree entirely. But then, in that kind of period of time, between 40 and 45, there were 2 minutes added. So I'm not sure whether the goal came just after that, just over into the extra time or injury time. We do go ahead again. And again, the word statement that Dave used comes back into my head, because this was like, again, like what I said to you, oh, you think you're getting back into the game? No. Sit down, shut up. Dom Szoboszlai, under a bit of pressure at the back, Trent just kind of launches one forward, a kind of hooked ball with his left foot. The kind of thing I'd rather we did a little bit more. It's designed to definitely clear a few lads. As it happens, Dom does brilliantly with his head, nods it on for Mo Salah. Mo Salah carries the ball forward, slips Dom back in with a lovely little pass, and holy shit, our number 8 finishes really coolly in front of the goal to put us 3-1 in, going in. they should be mentally broken. We'll talk later on about how they weren't necessarily, but it was a wonderful reaction. Talk to us about the concession of the goal, the scoring of the goal to go ahead 3-1, and anything else you want to mention from that period or earlier.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.